Hey everybody, Robert and Nelly here to talk to you again about a little bit of what's going on, especially in this administration. And y'all see the title of this: Christians, Let's Talk. Yeah, this is going to be about us and how we, some of you, are responding to the administrations and a lot of the actions coming from these individuals, especially from the president.
Okay. Well, I this has been really bugging me all day, and I wanted to do another video. I did a video this morning. Hi, Tiana. Um, One of the things that I'm not quite understanding is when we state that this is a free country, right? So when we say free country, that means we should be able to decide things. Of course, we have the amendments, okay, put in place, but we should be able to decide. So when we say free country, why are we putting dictation or limits on transgender, the LGB, abortion? And by the way, I'm against abortion, but I also believe that a woman has a choice what to do with her body. What else?
When we're talking about, and that's true, with this being a free country, there seems to be a whole lot of restrictions that, especially us in the Christian community, want to put on people, especially when those ideals don't match up with what we say,
God bless you.
what we say, or what we believe is in the Bible and so on. We want to put rules on things, and rules in the sense of shunning people away because we don't agree with something. And that's not what the Bible says we are supposed to do. We're not supposed to do that. We don't get to pick and choose when to love, when to show respect, when to welcome people, and so on. So,
And the reason it bothers me is, and we're talking about, because November 6th, please go out and vote. This Tuesday, please make sure you go out and vote. Figure out time, figure out how you're going to do it, but please, it's very important that we vote. When we say freedom, there shouldn't be shunning people out. We have people that want to get an asylum. They're coming. And we have this president he first said that all are welcome, but they have to do it the legal way. So now these people are trying to do it legally, yet now he's talking about that if they throw rocks, so now we have to send in the troops. So instead of saying, yeah, we're going to send the troops to help them out, welcome them in, he's like, oh, no. They're going to come. And the last video that I saw, is a scare tactic because they're talking about they're going to come and they're just going to, you want these people in, they're murderers. But wait a minute. No. We just had a horrible week. And all those people that were killed, my condolences to everybody and their family. And we're praying about that. These were homegrown folks. They weren't immigrants. They weren't Mexican. They weren't Hondurans. They weren't from anywhere else.
Why can't we talk about that? Why are we not talking about that?
So please, November 6th, please go out and vote. We need change. We cannot continue to let this man spew out hatred. We are Christians. We say we're Christians. God is love. God doesn't shun people out. He gave us a free will. Free will means that even though that we have the Ten Commandments and we have, things in place, God allows us, if we're going to do something wrong, he'll let it happen. But guess what? We will pay the consequences. So why are we trying to dictate LGBs? We're trying to dictate to the transgenders. We're trying to dictate about abortion. Pro-choice. Let the woman have her choice of what she's going to do. She's going to have to pay the consequences. That's between her and God and her conscience, her soul. Don't put people in place that are going to dictate what we need to do with our body. Another thing that I wanted to bring out was, like I said, the asylum. They're trying to come legally. So why are we shutting them down?
No.
God is love. God welcomes everybody. Everybody. And plus, this is a free country. We have the Statue of Liberty in New York, right? Out there. The Statue of Liberty, why did we get that? Because it was a country with freedom.
And as far as this asylum goes, and I still haven't gotten an answer to this, because I've asked this question before. We hear so many people, and a lot of you really try to sound like this is what you feel, but a lot of, but they need to come here legally. So what are they trying to do now? And I did a video on this earlier. To me, what I see, and from a lot of Christians, which this is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned, as far as God's concerned, because the encouragement, what we should be saying is, okay, let's hope the soldiers are going to take the steps to help these people out. I'm seeing Christians, people who call themselves Christians, encouraging soldiers shooting on sight, ready to fight back. It's fine to fight back. Okay, cool, got it. To fight back. But that shouldn't be our first option. The fighting back, the shooting at, those are last resorts. I don't care what Trump says. Those are supposed to be last resorts. And as Christians, why are we encouraging that? You're not supposed to be encouraging that these people are harmed in some type of way. On top of everything else, when people are caught here, you take that same rhetoric as far as, well, make sure they come here legally, make sure they're here legally. So so I propose this question to you: how do you suppose they come here and do it legally? If they're trying to do this now, and this administration, who should be the example that we all follow as far as how to handle this, how do you suppose we do this when this administration is sitting here and they are saying that these people are doing this, or they're going to come here and do this? And it baffles me that the same people, the same ones, nobody's a perfect Christian, got it, but the same ones who are calling ourselves Christian are the ones okay with the statements being said, the stereotyping, and of course, like Nelly just said, we have all this going on here in this country. Now, y'all want to throw thoughts, y'all thoughts and prayers, okay, that's fine. But we got all this going on in this country, and we're not even touching that. Because they're homegrown, they're white male terrorists, that's the definition of it, so we're not going to play around with that one, okay? We have this going on, but we're on guard for a bunch of what? Women and children? And that's mainly what those seeking asylum consist of. Yeah, there's men in the group, but we're talking about them walking. They're still 900-something miles away. And we got people and Christians who are supposed to be welcome. There's nothing that says, nothing in God's anything says only welcome those who are in the United States. We get the whole thing about legal. We get that. But we're talking about the responses to when they are trying to do it legally. And if the way they're doing it, if you're not, on Fox News or on this, Trump administration, if the way they're doing it is not right, then what do you propose that they do? How do they do this without coming here? Because this is how they're supposed to do it. Is the group too large? Is that the problem? Are they moving too fast? I mean, how are they supposed to do it? I haven't heard one person say, this is the way we do it. But I hear a lot of us as Christians quick to say, oh, they're invading us. They're not. They're going to come and overrun us. They won't. That's not supposed to come from us. We are supposed to be the example. God teaches us, we do our best. And again, we're not perfect, we fall short, but we do our best to be the example for others. You can talk about it all day, but if you're not showing it, guess what? That's why people don't take Christians seriously.
That's like saying when we go to church. Church is not a museum. Church is a hospital. And we have Christians that do that. They are in church and they're like, oh, look at such and such. They're doing this. They shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that.
I used to be that way myself, so I can sit here. We do all this now, but I can sit here and say that a long time ago that was my mindset until I heard that, and then I said, "Oh, you know what? That's true. Why would everybody who doesn't need God be sitting in church?"
So that's the same with, it's not a museum, it's a hospital. The United States is supposed to be a freedom country. So why are we shunning people away? Like I said, homegrown are happening as homegrown more than that has been in the news all this time. It's not people that came from anywhere else. It's homegrown. Yes, it happened in 9/11. I get that. I understand. That broke my heart. That's where I'm from, New York. But that doesn't mean that because of that incident, I'm going to stay stuck there and continue letting this man spew out hatred. And his words are powerful, that when he speaks, people are responding. We're seeing too many videos out there of people getting hurt, cursed at, pushed at, call the cops on. Why? Because they're breathing? Because they're living?
They're not even trying to keep it, be discreet, but they're just wide open. I don't care that your video. And people, I mean, that's like one of the last videos you showed me. Is I don't even care if you're recording. They don't care. The words carry weight. For everybody who wants to say, oh, well, Trump, he's not the one who's responsible. The words carry weight. And somebody in his position should know that, or he should have people around him smart enough to tell him, sir, Mr. President, you got to watch what you're saying. It doesn't matter whether you're telling them or not. They're taking, and I did this video, I said this on the past video. It's the same way if we tell our children something. We tell our children something. We've all been there. If you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There have been many times where you say something to them and they do something else, and you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I said. You still have to clarify that. They're going to take what you're saying. They're not going to always understand and get it exactly right, but that's your job to make sure they get it, and they make sure they're doing it the proper way, or make sure they're not misunderstanding you, or if they do something that they thought you said, your job as a parent to say, wait a minute, that's not what I meant. Okay? So it's the same way here. If people are doing things and they're saying straight up that it's because of Trump, he needs to be the one to come out and say, wait a minute, no, that's not it. Now, so that we stay on, and Christians, we're still talking to you about this here because, yes, that's very true. Museums, we know what we do in museums. We go, we look at exhibits, we study everything and all that. But if you went into a hospital, people don't judge the person who's in the room next to them, right? If they're lying up in the bed too, that's why you're in there. Who goes to a hospital and you're not sick, you're not injured, you're not hurt? There's no point in going to the hospital if you need that. If everybody who went to church was perfect Christians, there would be no need for church. Church is the reason, that's what it's there for. So we do that. And when it comes to how we're handling this administration, and one thing I've always said is it's easy for us to say all this and that. It's easy for us to talk about all these Bible verses and say all these, these cute expressions and so forth until we actually have to apply them. Okay? It's easy to, sit here and say I'm a forgiving person until I actually gotta forgive somebody. And I'm not talking about somebody, oh, I bumped into you, oops, sorry, or you bumped into me, oh, sorry, oh, I forgive you. No, I'm talking about somebody who really puts something on me that makes me really have to forgive. Because if you say sorry and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's all good, that's easy. God is a teacher, okay? He's going to give us, just like teachers do, he's going to give us tests. That's when we know we've learned. It's easy to be forgiving until you have to forgive. It's easy to be loving until you have to love. God's not going to send people your way who are going to be easy to love. He's not going to send people your way who will be easy to forgive, who are going to do things that's never going to hurt you. That's when we're doing what Jesus would do. That's when we're going and following it the right way. So we're picking and choosing. And like Nelly said just now, this asylum, this is not how we're supposed to be handling this at all. That's not up for debate. That's not up for question. You got a problem with that? That is your problem. Because in saying all this, that's not saying we're okay with them coming illegally. That's not what that means. But rather than finding every reason to push, we should be saying, okay, you're looking to do this legally? Let us show you how. Let us as Christians take the lead and say, okay, we're going to show you how to do this. Now, when you show us otherwise, got it. Now we can, respond as we need to respond. But there's no way, if you are a Christian, that you're putting these people down and they're 900 miles away trying to walk here. There's no reason whatsoever. And thanks to everyone for joining in and watching this. Feel free to send comments. Feel free to just jump in and say hey if you want to. So thanks for jumping on in here. So that's where we are with this.
And I feel that when people do that, when they pick and choose, it's like saying that one sin is more bad than the other. But sin is sin. Sin is sin. So stop picking and choosing. We have an administration that is pushing out hate. So why are we allowing that? God is love. God is love. And there's a few things that I please vote, but do your research. I had someone tell me that Democrats are just for abortion. No, that's not true. If you look, there is it's called the Emily Wish, and that's for the Democrats. What they believe is in pro-choice, and then they have even Republicans. Some are pro-choice, and their group or their list is called the Wish List. So if you look that up, they have pro-choices. It depends on who you're voting for, what they believe. Even though that they're Republicans or they're Democrats, they also have a choice of what they believe, and they'll there's a statement out there for that. So here, and then I got a lot of how the LGB is taking over the school, that there's no prayer in school. I don't believe that. If you can show me proof that LGBs are taking over, please show it to me. If there's no prayers in school at all, please show me. If you're a teacher, principal, whatever, and you want to, help us to understand, that's fine. I'm open. I'm always open to what is the truth. I know that when I went to school, and even when my daughters went to school, they had groups of Christians where they were able to go discuss anything that they wanted to discuss, and they would pray. I've seen many times where they have the pray by the flag. Okay, so don't tell me that prayer is out of school. Also, a lot of people, and I got this from Hilario Villanueva. We call him Pastor V. I know him for many, many years. And he wrote something that really touched me. And I think after that, I said I have to just put it in video.
Before you jump to that, I want to respond to, I didn't see who that was. Doreen, I think it was Doreen, said God needs to be put back in schools. I wanted to address that because, okay, that was Doreen. Before you jump, because you're going to something different, I wanted to address that too. As far as they took it out, my question respectfully is this. When God is in your heart, how can God be taken out of anything? As far as, if we're going to get up and we're going to pray every morning. We're going to read our Bible. We're going to, read our devotions. We're going to do all that. If it's that easy, and this is just my opinion on this. If it's that easy for God to be taken out of something in your life, God wasn't in there as much as he should have been in the first place. Because and we can't sit here, and God is not the type, and I don't know God. No, none of us know God, of course, but I can't see God saying, okay, if you're still praying for me, he's not going to say, well, I can't come in school, so I can't. God's all powerful. So even if it's, and again, I haven't seen anything myself either that says, like under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. And that was added. See, we forget that too. That was added, I believe it's in the 1950s. So it wasn't like that was always in there. But I still haven't seen anything that said that part's being taken out. I think it was proposed at one time, but even if that is the case, again, who's to say that everything is not going? We can't blame God for where things are right now. We can't do that. People have a free will. We can't blame God for, the schools are like this because God was taken out of school. God can't be taken out of anything if we believe that strongly in Him. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't walk down the street and yell, praise the Lord, hallelujah, every 5 minutes, that doesn't mean God is out of my heart. That just means, okay, God is in here.
And how about when we go to work? We
mm-hmm.
go to work. We work with atheists, with drug addicts, gay people. I mean, we work. We don't go to work and say, oh, we're going to pray. So you're going to tell me because prayer is not in school. And this is not, that I'm in anger or...
We're just talking.
We're just talking, chatting. Mm-hmm. This is great. So bring any comments you have.
Thank you,
we cannot say that, well, we don't pray at work, so God is not there.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is just going to go horrible because God is not there. Because guess what? Your responsibility and my responsibility, our choices is to get up, have that time with God. And if we have children, hey, before we go out that door, make sure we pray. And we pray for all the children's. That's our duty. It's not the school's duty. It's our duty.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. It's our duty to do it. And again, it's about, I don't know. This is in the Bible, and I can't remember. You probably know because I think you've told me before. But it's not about how much. A lot of times we're looking so much to try to show everybody. We want to show. I mean, and I'm talking about showing as in what we say, Bible verses, how much we can quote from the Bible, but we're not showing in our behavior. We're not showing in how we treat people who are different than us, who do things that we may not condone or agree with. We're not showing it in that. We want everybody to know that we're Christians. Oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Oh, I'm and all this and that. But we're not. God's not here for a show, per se.
Just like in the Bible, the Pharisees. Pharisees were very religious. Oh my goodness, were they religious? And what did Jesus say to them? You hypocrites. Mm-hmm. He was really upset because he knew their heart. They went in the corners and they prayed, but in their heart, they didn't have love. Mm-hmm. And God is love. God is not for me to stand here and say, oh, you're LGB. Well, guess what? You're wrong. You're going to hell. That's not what God tells me to do. Mm-hmm. God tells me to embrace that person and be able to be a listening ear, speak to them and see where they're at. That doesn't mean that I condone what they do. I don't condone abortion. I don't condone that. And I do believe that if immigrants are going to come here, they have to do it legally. Things like that. So the Pharisees did all this day and night. They were very religious. And Jesus ate with sinners. And guess what? The Pharisees had a problem with that.
Yeah.
They had a problem that he was sitting with sinners. Jesus didn't come and die for all of us, for righteous people. He came to save the ones that are lost. He came to show love. God is love. And I have to continue saying that God is love, not a person with hatred. And the president is just spewing out hatred. We want change. We have to vote and get him out of there. He's starting to bring chaos everywhere. Mm-hmm. So please, November 6th, vote and do your research. Do your research.
And understand too, and a lot of people, and it's probably just kind of carelessly thrown out here, as far as saying that anybody who is against the president or this administration is being hateful. Now, we know that a lot of times the way some people win arguments, they try to win arguments, is if I say that you're doing what I'm actually doing, it shifts the focus off me. And that's what a lot of people are saying. There's nothing in here, neither of us, we've prayed many times for Donald Trump, for Republicans, for this administration. We don't condone, we don't have a problem speaking up, unlike a lot of, again, some of you Christians out there, unlike a lot of you speaking up. And I'm saying that, and I say that again from a place of love, but when things happen to our brothers and sisters who God says is everyone, not people we like, not our friends, not our family, not everybody that we're okay with, not everybody who agrees with everything we say. But when things happen to our brothers and sisters, we're supposed to pray for them. And we aren't doing that. We're not doing that. We're picking and choosing. We don't have a problem praying for, we've done it before with the children. We sat here and prayed for them and just because of wanting him out. He's not appropriate for that position. It's that simple. He's not appropriate for that position, but that's not the same. And the whole thing, it's nonsense for one to say that this is being hateful because we say that. Because we're not saying it from a position yeah, there's some anger, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. There's some of that in there too. But not from a position where we want to see harm brought upon him, his family, anybody in the administration. No, we don't want to see harm brought into that. Now, on top of this, I know you got to get to your part, but on top of all this, we can speak up. People can speak up when politicians were being yelled at in restaurants. Now, as wrong as that is, that's when we go back to God is love. Now we can say that because now it's, God is love, or that's not how God wants it. That's fine in that case, but with this asylum, we're not showing that. When the Democratic, the prominent Democratic figures were having bombs sent to them, we weren't showing love then. The two black senior citizens who were shot in that Kentucky Kroger supermarket, we weren't showing love to them. All we were doing is saying, wasn't us. Trump was saying, it's not me. Where is the love there? The synagogue, where's the love there? No, all we want to do is just make sure it doesn't come on, it doesn't. And I'm saying we just being, encompassing, but, people want to just say, no, it's not on Trump. But that same love isn't there. Not to mention this lie going around that the Democrats are paying for these individuals, this asylum. It's almost embarrassing that people are still buying into that. But again, if God is love all the time. God's not love only for everybody that we're okay with, we like. And that's the part so many people have a hard time with understanding.
And, this tit for tat or that fighting about Democrat and Republicans, we still should come together. There shouldn't be that. We're all going to not disagree. We're not going to agree with everything, but we have to put things in order. And this man doesn't have things in order. He's, how you say?
He's
dividing everybody instead of putting everybody together. And, again, do your homework. And I'm going to go back to Eladio Villanueva, that he wrote this, and it was deep. He says, it's almost nonsensical when I hear those who say that the ideas of Democrats are bad. And he pointed out to 9 of them. So health care for all is bad. So covering people with pre-existing conditions is bad. Permanent tax cuts for the middle class is bad. Higher minimum wages in a world where basic things like housing, food, medicine are so expensive is bad. Read, baby, because I don't have my glasses.
Okay.
Oops.
Yeah, that's
Hi, Jaya.
and that's fine. And on all these, number 5, equal rights for all, whether you're black, white, brown, gay, straight, female, male, etc. is bad.
Is that bad?
Number 6, enacting laws that save our environment is bad. Number 7, salvaging Medicare and Social Security that everyone pays for. Is that bad too? Number 8, getting the 1% who can afford to pay a little more so that we stop trying to plug deficits on the backs of the middle class. That's bad too. Number 9, enacting sensible gun laws in an attempt to make our schools and places of worship safer. That's bad too. And the thing that's funny about all 9 of these, and let me know, correct me if I'm wrong, baby, but for all 9 of these, there's nothing that can't touch both sides of it.
That's right.
There's nothing that can't touch Democrats and Republicans.
That's right.
So how are we, when you're jumping up because you're saying, oh yeah, it's going to get you, all right, it's gonna get me too. If let's say I'm a Republican, and she's a Democrat, but it's gonna get me too. Healthcare for all. Guess what? Republicans are gonna be affected by that too. If you're saying, "Oh no, everybody shouldn't get free healthcare," okay, got you. You ain't gonna get it either. That's the thing.
And you might need it.
You might need it. We're so stuck on this. I get that there's sides, but we're
Or
so
your
stuck
children,
on thinking
grandchildren.
children too, grandchildren. We're so stuck on trying to stay on one side or the other. Yeah, we kind of have to be there now because we need to make some changes. But pre-existing conditions. Why in the world would anybody have an issue with that one? Covering people with pre-existing conditions, why is that an issue? Permanent tax cuts. Last I checked, rich people aren't the only Republicans that are out there. There's a lot of y'all in the middle class. Higher minimum wages. People have such an issue with that one, and I'm just, I got it. Yeah, they'll raise prices, which that's their way of justifying. Oh well, we're going to raise the minimum wage. We have to increase all the price. They don't have to. They're just going to, because by now we've allowed it for so long. Yeah, they're going to use that as an excuse to do it. But again, what's the problem with higher minimum wage? So they raise the price on things. So what? If you've been alive more than a couple years, you're already used to prices being raised on things. How much does stuff cost 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago? The prices are going up anyway. Prices are not going to stop going up just because minimum wage goes up. And equal rights, whoo! Y'all see us, right? Puerto Rican, black, equal rights. So, and we're laughing at this one because some people some act like it is such a big thing. And again, Christians, we haven't forgotten what the topic is. We're not going off on a tangent. This is stuff that's coming from fellow Christians. Y'all the ones some of you are the ones saying this, all this stuff is bad. Equal rights. And let me tell you, without saying, and I say this all the time, you don't have to wear this big sign, a big chain around your neck with a thing that says, "I am racist," for you to be racist. You don't have to wear this big thing that says, "I don't like equal rights for everybody," to not be, to be against that. It's just in what you say, what you support, what you don't say. Because guess what? Being quiet about everything, that's a problem too. That's a problem too. I don't talk politics, but you sneak those little things in there. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. And we're in a place right now where we got to do a little bit more talking about it. But equal rights, I've heard so many times that when a person of color, somebody gay, the LGBT community, or a woman, okay, we throw women. He didn't put women, but that's another one. Whenever something happens, somebody has to come along and say, "Oh my goodness." Let's take, for example, let's say a woman gets a role in a movie that is normally reserved for a man. Well, rather than us as Christians being welcoming and saying, "Okay, all right, cool, let's check this out," it's, "Oh, they're trying to satisfy an agenda and just make people happy and all this." And it's like, why? Why are we looking at it like that?
The same thing like the firemen and the firewomen, and even in the army. Remember, it was a hard time for women to get in there.
Yeah, everything is not about agenda; it's about equal rights. And when you're so used to being above everybody, guess what? When people want to kind of even it out, you're so used to being up here that this feels like, oh my goodness. This feels like we're trying to oppress you. Now, no, it's just about us being all. Why is that a problem? Laws that save our environment. That's a silly. To me, it's silly when people have a problem with that one. Like the expression "tree huggers" and all that recycling. What's the problem? What's the harm in that? Why is that something that irritates people? I'm all for recycling, protecting the environment and so on. Why is that a big thing? Why is that bad? Why is that so bad that you guys say, "Oh, that's a Democrat thing. Oh, get away from." There's nothing wrong with some of that stuff.
And guess what? I want to throw it in. This is not us just be Democratic and we hate the Republicans, because guess what? I am registered Republican, but I'm not going to allow or stand by someone that is hateful. And just everything that he's doing, the tax scams that are going out there, nobody's talking about that. The things that he's doing, everybody's giving him a pass. Why? It's still wrong. It's still sin. So the Christians that I've heard that are telling me, oh no, I respect him. How can I respect a man that doesn't even respect women? Nobody has to tell me that. I see it when any news women anchor comes to talk to him, he shuts them down right away. With Dr. Ford, look how he said that, oh, she's respectful, whatever, and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, oh, she's
He's
lying, they
making fun
paid
of-
her. You don't do that. And just how he talks and makes fun of people and stating and talk about Miss Warren
Yeah,
and all that.
Warren.
Why? That's childish. He's a man of 70 something years old. Why is he talking like a child? I cannot stand and support someone like that. So this Republican that's been registered, I think, for 14 years, Republican. And by the way, I did not vote for him. Last year, I did a bad mistake and didn't vote for none of them because, to be honest, I didn't like both of them. So instead of doing my studies, I didn't do it. But this year, when I go on the 6th, it's going to be all Democrat for me because we need him out.
Yeah.
We need to do it.
Yeah, and the thing about it, and as far as and how this all ties in, because I know we kind of go off a little bit, but it all ties in because as Christians, okay, we're not speaking from places of righteousness. We know exactly when we sit there and we pray, we talk about it all the time. We know that we're falling short of God's glory, but as Christians, we are supposed to, from a position of love, speak up against this stuff. Not just sit back and say, okay, well, we're good and we respect them. Okay, a lot of people are like, oh, they're so proud, they're so happy that we have a president now who's not afraid to speak up against things. Why didn't he speak up against Vladimir Putin? Why didn't he speak up? Why didn't he do it then? Okay, the disrespect he's showing, that's not up for debate. That's not a question. When he's as the president, you need to watch your words carefully. Now he said himself that he's a man of God. Come on. I'm not the best, I don't do everything I'm supposed to do, but at least I can sit here and say I know that much.
God is love.
God is love. He's not, when he's up there, okay, so, and if you want to bring the question up about, well, what would I do differently, or if that was me, very simply, you don't put, since we don't know, and you mentioned Dr. Ford, let's bring that in there, Judge Kavanaugh. Since nobody knows what actually happened. So you don't run your mouth and put people who come forward, put them down. You don't do that. You don't pick the side. You're the president. You don't pick sides. You don't go and have all these rallies, okay? Because it's not like there's not enough stuff going on in D.C. to begin with. But you don't have these rallies and all you're doing is making fun of people. That's the wrong answer. Wrong answer. There's nothing okay about that. And as Christians, we're supposed to speak up and say, wait a minute, that's not what God wants us doing. I don't know why he needs to do rallies anyway, but that's not what we are supposed to be doing as Christians. And we should all be able to speak up about that. It's a shame what Nelly just said. It's a shame that there's quite a few out there who have registered Republican, voted Republican, and said, you know what, no, I can't. And that's the thing. I can respect that. It's not about beating you up and saying, well, why'd it take you so long? No, it's not about that. Sometimes we don't see, things. It took all this for some people to be able to see it a little clearer. That's okay.
No, we didn't have this problem.
And we didn't have, and it wasn't anywhere near where it is now.
There was politics, most of it.
It was a lot more politics. I mean, from and through the eyes of some folks. So, what's the harm in speaking up? Why aren't more of us as Christians speaking up against this behavior? If we can go to church and point and do all this and that, we should be saying it now. And again, you speak from a position of love. You don't have to. We're not hateful because we're saying this stuff. It's disgusting, some of the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. Sickening. And yes, disrespecting women. I mean, we remember what he said in 2005. We remember what he said to Billy, I can't remember his name, but y'all know. Grab him by the what? Yeah, we know. We know that. And I'm not hearing anybody with that's locker room talk. Now, I don't know too many 59-year-olds. That was his age back then. I don't know too many 59-year-olds hanging out in locker rooms. And I would have even given him, I would have been accepting if he came out and said, you know what, that wasn't appropriate for me to say. I'd have been perfectly fine because at least he's saying, well, you know what, now, you know, I've grown something. But he's like, what did I say? I ain't say nothing wrong. That was his attitude. Come on. Can I come to your house as a black man, if Nellie's not here? Can I come to your house and say, grabbing your daughter by the foot? Can I do that about her? No, right? You're not going to be like, oh, that's cool. That's just locker room. No. We know that. So if it's not okay for me to say it, and I'm almost half his age, it shouldn't be okay for him to say that. And yeah, he's jumping on these reporters, these female reporters, just because they're female. He doesn't act the same way with men. Mm-hmm. We see that. Anybody with eyes can see that. So why are we as Christians, again, picking and choosing, and only when somebody comes down on this administration do we want to be Christian all of a sudden and say, oh, wait a minute, but God's love and all this. I know that's what she's been saying, but, well, you know, God's love all the time. Mm-hmm. That means we should be saying the same things on all sides of it. We should be saying the same things on all sides. Getting back to Eladio, what he said, just his last couple, Social Security. Why is anybody, that's affecting, again, everybody. We pay into Social Security. That shouldn't be up for discussion. We pay into that. That's our money. And at some point, I lost track, in the last probably 10 years, I've lost track of the fact that we pay that money into it and they just take it and use it for something else. Somebody from another country asked a question on Twitter. They said, isn't that stealing? Yes, that's stealing. We pay that money because we're supposed to get it back. Yeah, that's stealing. The 1% who can afford it to pay a little more so we stop trying to plug the deficits. Yeah, the deficits are on us. The middle class, the deficits are on us. Why is that a problem? Again, it's not only Democrats who are middle class. And the gun laws. Now, I know I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because we know where some minds are on it. But gun laws. There's nothing about going to get guns from anybody. It's just sensible gun laws, okay? And the argument that I usually get, that we get is, well, if, you know, people who want to kill somebody, or Chicago, we love to throw Chicago in there, criminals don't care about gun laws. So what do? We just say the heck with it? Or do we take action and say, okay, they don't care about them, but we still need to put the laws in place? If I plan on stealing the car, I'm not too worried about having a license. Do you just say, oh, well, okay, let's just forget licenses for everybody then? No, you still have the rules in place. Make them work. If somebody's determined to break into your house, you don't say, well, you know, burglaries happen, I should leave the door unlocked. No, you still put them in place. And if you're doing everything legally, why are you worried about it anyway?
That's right. You made it back up.
So, yeah, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thanks for joining, everybody. But you know, again, Christians, we got to do better than this. We got to do better. If you can get outraged and you can remember everything about God being love when somebody's being yelled at in a restaurant, somebody's being yelled at in a restaurant, or somebody there utters a bad word about Donald Trump or this administration, we need to have that same mindset with people coming to seek asylum into this country. We need to have that same...
Separating the kids.
Separating children. We didn't even talk about that one, but yeah, separating children. God really isn't... I know God's not about that one. But we're going to say what? Well, Obama did it. Oh, well, maybe they should come here legally. Not to mention, it's a misdemeanor anyway. And some people want to throw in there... And being in the Army, I got this one. Some people thought they were brilliant in coming up with this one. Well, when you deploy, you're away from your family then, right? Well, guess what? There's not somebody on that airfield ripping my children away from me before I leave. I explained to them. I have several months, and in some cases, to talk to them and say, okay, this is what my job is. This is what I will be doing. They're prepared for me to leave. When people go to prison, yeah, but even in that case, children are not torn away from them.
They give you a time.
So we can't even. They give you time to get your orders and affairs and
everything
straight.
in order. Yeah.
And I guarantee, these same individuals, they didn't get that. They didn't get that same thing. So let's stop let's stop with the excuses. Let's remember what it means to be Christian. Okay, let's stop picking and choosing everything. And people love to do that. We love to do that. Love to pick and choose the parts that we want that work for us and ignore everything else.
November 6th, please vote.
November 6th. It's Tuesday.
Vote, vote, vote.
And again, that doesn't mean that nothing about that means hate. It just means this is the action we have to take. The same way you ground your children doesn't mean you hate them, right? The same way you fire somebody who works for you doesn't mean you hate them. It's just we need to take action. We need to do it now. So thanks again for watching. We can probably go all night on this, but thanks for watching. Everybody who joined in here, feel free to leave comments.
Leave
We're
comments,
very open.
share. Make sure that you share so someone else, you can encourage somebody to vote. This discussion was just to discuss. It's not out of hate. It's not pointing fingers. We just want, thought-provoking thoughts, so you could think about it before you go on November 6th. Please think about these things, do your research,